He is alive. He is risen. He is risen indeed. Many, 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 many moons ago, way, way back in 1978, a book came out called Star Wars, Star Trek, and the 21st Century Christian. And it quickly became one of my favorite books of the time, which is, appropriate maybe for a 7-year-old. If he had waited till the 21st century, he might have gotten more of it right. But even before the spoiler of the second movie in the Star Wars saga that leads to so many memes where you see the no, and we found out some truth, I questioned some of his logic and reasoning because he made this illustration, and I've got no problem. I use movie illustrations quite a bit, but he used this illustration that basically Darth Vader represented the devil and Luke Skywalker represented Jesus. And I thought, no, even as a little child, I was like, no. I didn't come to the point quite yet where I do now, where I realize that, no, Luke is really more us than anything close to Jesus. He's young, inexperienced, doesn't have a clue what he's doing, but he thinks he knows the best thing to do. He whines all the time and questions everything his teacher tells him to do and really doubts whether anything is going to work. That's way more me. But the one who kind of, and there's lots of flaws even in that, but a lot closer represents Jesus is another character. One of the most famous lines from Star Wars: A New Hope. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're our only hope. And how did he win the day, become more powerful, thwart the enemy? His whole plans, everything fell apart when he turned off his lightsaber and allowed himself to be killed. Jesus is our only hope. Not because he thought we deserved it, but because he loves us and he died for us. See, I find it very easy for me to realize that I have no hope apart from Christ. Because it's not too hard for me to look back on my life and realize that I deserve death. For some, that might be a little harder. For I would dare say the majority of people who hear this haven't been anywhere in the neighborhood of as off as I was. But we can get that mentality that maybe we don't really deserve it. If the scales are kind of balanced, if the good outweighs the bad, then I'm not a bad person and I probably don't really deserve to die. There are religions that basically teach that. That if your good outweighs your bad, you're all right. And even as Christians, we can fall into that kind of thinking sometimes if we're not careful. But here's the problem with that logic. The law is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And to love others, your neighbor, who is your neighbor, everybody you encounter, love them as though they are special and valued and treasured and worthy of God's love, as you are supposed to do yourself. The point is, deny self and follow Christ. And deny self means I have to be altruistic in my motives. My motives need to be love. The law is love. And if I'm being good, not out of love, Not out of love for God, not out of love for you, but so that I can receive praise or approval, or so that I can cancel out some bad. I just removed all the good from what I'm doing. It's no longer motivated by love. It's motivated by selfishness. You can't deny self while you're motivated by selfishness. Therefore, even on the scale, my good deeds weigh down on the bad side because they were done for the wrong motives. Oh no, I'm really in trouble now. How do I fix that? I can't. And that's the point. Son of David, have mercy on us. Jesus is the only one who chose to be here. I mean, I was probably not the only person in this room that said, well, I didn't ask to be born. No, neither did anybody else. Except Jesus. He did. And he wrapped himself in flesh and did what we were always supposed to do and couldn't, not for any other reason than to make a way for us and give glory to the Father. Love. Absolute, totally motivated by love. Total unselfishness. Now the scale is tipped. And then he died on our behalf and gave us his reward. And that is our only hope. It can never be in balancing the scale because we can't balance the scale. And then he gives us the grace and fills us with his love so that our motives can actually change. So that for the first time we actually have a chance to deny self. And it's not perfect. You know, it's a process. But one day, he's going to finish the work he started. Because he is our hope. He balanced the scales. He didn't just balance them, he tipped them. Whew. Death destroyed. Sin eradicated. Destruction made new. Death turned into life. That's our hope. That's our reason. The only reasonable, logical response to being loved so much is to love him back. And thank God for grace. Because what does that tell me? That tells me that even my love for God is not purely altruistic. I love him. Why? Because he first loved me. I love him because he gives me life. I love him. You know, there's all these other things that are about myself that are mixed in with just the pure, unfathomable truth of his glory and his wonder. But there's more response to simply who he is every day, or most every day. As the Spirit does the work inside me to bring me to that place that Jesus died so that I could be brought to. And the same is true for you. So if it's easy in your heart and in your head today to start thinking as you review, well, I'm mostly a good person. Are the scales balanced? You a little more good than bad? Praise God. That helps humanity a little bit. Makes this place a little less miserable. You did it better than me. That's not the standard. You have to do it as good as he did for your merit to count. And in case you missed what I've been saying, you already blew that. But you can have his righteousness. You can have his reward. And if you've already put your trust in him, you already have his reward. So stop trying to earn what has been given to you and be grateful for it and respond in love, remembering what he did at this moment, on this day, and every day that comes.